भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Let the Almighty protect us both, the teacher and the taught. Let the Almighty nourish us both, the teacher and the taught. May we acquire equal energy. May our acquired knowledge be equally effulgent and effective. May we not hate each other. Peace, peace, peace. Welcome everybody. This Sunday I am going to tell you a story. A story from the pages of the ancient days. A story which is very inspiring and enlightening. The story of the wise King Janaka and his guru, the teacher Ashtavakra. One day, Janaka was fast asleep in his bed. Suddenly there was a knock in his door, and he found that his attendant entered into his bedroom and said, "O king, get up. There is a war. The neighboring state, the neighboring country has declared a war, so you have to do the needful." So this King Janaka, he immediately woke up and he summoned his chief of the army and marched towards the battlefield. Unfortunately, he had to concede a defeat. He was defeated by the king of the neighboring state. When he was defeated, the king of the neighboring state told him, "Look, Janaka, you are a king. I won't punish you. I won't take away your life. But one thing I will do, I will send you to exile. You have to cross the boundary of this kingdom before the sunset. And if you are found within the territory of this kingdom after the sunset, then you will be killed. Now, you have to save your life. So run, Janaka, run. And Janaka started running. He had to cross the boundary. He has to save his life. So he was trying his level best to cross the territory before the sunset. So just before the sunset, he however managed to cross the border of his country. And there, when he crossed the border, he found himself extremely hungry, extremely thirsty. Throughout the day it was a long struggle, and he was very thirsty, very hungry indeed. He did not care of taking a morsel of food or a drop of water to drink. So he was badly looking for food and water. Suddenly he found there was a long queue. And he found that food is distributed in form of charity. So he queued up because he had to have some foodstuff to eat. But whenever his turn came and the food was about to be served, he found that the food was exhausted. There was no more food to be distributed. But the person who was distributing the food said, "We don't have any more rice with us, but however we have a little starch left with us. We can add some salt and you can eat it or you can drink it if you like. Otherwise, we do not have any sort of food to give you." But this Janaka was very hungry as well as thirsty. So he wanted to have this starch. So he was served this starch in a bowl. And when he was about to drink, just about to drink that starch, a kite alighted. It struck the bowl and the bowl fell down. And ultimately, there was no food or drink left for Janaka. Janaka was so tired, he was so exhausted that he fell down, almost collapsed. And he started murmuring in a very feeble voice, "Isn't there anyone who can give me a drop of water to drink? Can I have not a glass of water?" And he heard a faint voice telling him, "Your Majesty, I am standing at your bedside with a glass of water to drink. Why don't you wake up and have this water?" See, he opened his eyes and he saw that he was in his own royal bed. And it was a nightmare indeed. And the attendant was standing beside him with a glass of water to drink. Now, unlike ordinary person, this Janaka was a contemplative king. He was not an ordinary person. He was contemplative. And therefore he started thinking that, is this a dream or is it true? Is that true or is this true? Was that a dream or is this dream? So he was totally confused. He was totally miserable. And he was trying to find out the answer to this question, that is this true or is that true? Is he now dreaming or was he dreaming? This was the question which has been disturbing him. So when the king gets confused, then what happens? The entire system becomes disturbed. The royal court was interrupted. The official activities were disturbed because the king was confused. The king was unhappy because he had to solve this riddle. Whether this state is true or that state is true. So whosoever came to meet him, he asked the same question. Is this true or is that true? the minister came with the files for the signature. He said, is this true or is that true? Therefore, we can imagine the situation. It was a totally chaotic situation when this Janaka was totally confused. And this message spread across the capital. Everywhere the subjects started discussing about it. The king has become confused. The king has become totally stupefied. So, this rumor or the message is spread across the capital. Everyone started discussing about it. Unfortunately, during that time, Ashtavakra, the guru, the teacher, the guide of Janaka was there in the capital. Immediately he rushed to the royal court and asked, "O king, what is the problem with you? Why are you confused? What do you want to know?" The king said, "Sir, is this true or is that true? Is this royal court true or my sufferings are true? Or my sufferings are true?" Janaka was waiting for the answer. Eagerly he was waiting for the answer from the learned sage Ashtavakra. Ashtavakra said, "O king, when you were falling down, when you were dying for a drop of water, did you have any sort of perception of this royal luxury?" The king said, "No, sir. I could not have the slightest hint of this royal luxury when I was falling down. And when you are in this royal luxury, can you feel, can you perceive the sufferings which you had experienced while you fell down?" He said, "No, sir, not at all. Therefore, O king, neither that is true nor this is true. You are the only truth. This life is but a waking dream. And therefore, you yourself must know yourself. You must discover your own real nature. That is the nature of yourself. And if you cannot transcend the relativities of nature and have the glimpse of the supreme reality which is your own self, you will never get peace in your life. Therefore, you have to undertake the practices, undertake the journey to reach the supreme goal, which is the knowledge of your own self. You are the only truth. You are Sat, you are Chit, you are Ananda. You are existence absolute. You are knowledge absolute. You are bliss absolute. You are Satyam. You are Jnanam. You are Anandam. You are the truth. You are the consciousness. And you are the infinity. Infinitude is your real nature. That is your individuality. We are all often obsessed with our individuality. And we are always apprehensive of losing our own individuality. Our individuality will be lost. But that individuality is not the real individuality. The real individuality of a man is his infinite nature. He is the real man. And the apparent man is a struggle to express his infinite nature. And that has to be done. Only by doing this we can transcend grief and misery. Shokam tarati atmavet. The knower of reality, the knower of the self. Atmavid means the knower of the Atma, the knower of the self, transcends all griefs and sufferings of life. It is the general tendency of every being in this universe to avoid pain and misery and to reach a state of absolute happiness, a state of eternal joy, eternal happiness. And that state is called Ananda. Ananda means bliss. Bliss is that state, attaining which we are not affected by the greatest misery. Yang labdha cha parang labham mannatena adhikam tata yasmin sthito na dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. That is the highest state, beyond which there is no other state to attain. That is the state reaching which we are not affected by the greatest misery and sufferings. And that state can be attained through the practice of yoga. We have been complacent long enough. The glory and the march of science and technology had made us complacent. We had become materialistic, and we are inclined towards a hedonistic lifestyle. But a year back, our life came to a standstill. We are proud of our greatest accomplishments. But a tiny virus appeared, gave 2 tight slaps on our cheek and said, "Look, can you resist me? If you have so much of power, if you think yourself powerful in this world, then take this challenge, accept this challenge of getting rid of me. Save yourselves from the onslaught." And human being became totally helpless, searching for medicines and vaccines, and that virus took a huge toll of lives. Still we could not come out of that phase. Human civilization has been jeopardized. What is the solution? When we have been attending the corona patients, the doctors advised us that ask the patient to practice deep breathing techniques so that the oxygen level does not go down. But these deep breathing techniques, when they are termed pranayama, we are often called superstitious. We are often called fanatic. We are often called orthodox. Although yoga has gained a great mileage nowadays, it has earned a wide currency in the modern days. Yet, when we speak about yoga, yogic wisdom, when we speak about the ancient Indian wisdom, we are often laughed at, we are ridiculed. We do not accept, or we are not ready to accept the words of wisdom which emanated from the lips of the ancient Indians. The ancient Indian seers emphasized on the practice of yoga every day. Regular practice of yoga can only lead us to a safety zone. If we are a regular practitioner, then our immune system will be boosted up and we will be having sufficient strength to combat against the deadly virus. Therefore, we have to perform every work in the spirit of yoga. The life must be maintained in the spirit of yoga. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tvakta dhananjaya siddha siddho samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. We have to perform every work in the spirit of yoga. We need not go for deep breathing techniques when we know the science of the practice of pranayama. Pranayama boosts up our immune system, makes our lungs strong, and gives us a holistic health. At the same time, we come across different asanas as prescribed by the ancient yogis of India. The asanas equally help us to boost up our immune system. So the body is taken care of. Swami Kaivalayananda, who was the founder of Kaivalaydhama, observed that yoga has a message for the entire humanity. It has a message for the body, it has a message for the mind, and at the same time it has a message for the self or the soul. So when you have a healthy body, you can expect a healthy mind. And when our mind becomes unhealthy, when our mind becomes sick, the mind needs to be attended. But the regular practice of meditation will help us to rejuvenate our mind. Relaxation techniques will not be required because we will be relaxed every time. Even at the most critical moment, we will be relaxed. Because we will be knowing the technique to fight against the crisis. We must remember that the greatest message of yoga has been delivered in the battlefield during crisis. All of us have heard of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, where we find that Arjuna, the chief warrior of the righteous group, was totally despondent. He was totally depressed. He was in a terrible crisis. And what was the remedy? The remedy has been given by the Lord, who can be called the Bhavaroga Vidyam, who is the doctor of world syndrome. There are many syndromes, and this mental despondency, this depression may be taken as a world syndrome. He was a specialist in that, and therefore he found out, he selected the appropriate medicine by which this world syndrome can be resisted. And this appropriate medicine was yoga, the practice of yoga in one's own life. Therefore, again and again, the Lord emphasized that you have to practice yoga in your life. And this practical aspect of yoga will help you out of all sorts of depressions, all sorts of mental setbacks, and you will be leading a life like a master and not like a slave. We have been leading the lives of slave for a long time. We are the slave of our senses. We are the slave of our mind. We are the slave of our surroundings. We are the slave at our workplace. We are the slave at our own home. Of course, we do not accept. And some people who accept, they are not aware at all that they are leading a life of a slave. So we have to get rid of this slavery. We have to enjoy the beauty of the world. We have to enjoy all the stuff of the world, but like a master and not like a slave. When can we enjoy our life like a master? We can enjoy our life like a master when we are established in our own real nature. When we could manifest the divinity within us. Because each soul is potentially divine, and the goal is to manifest the divinity within. So the divinity needs to be manifested. And when the divinity inside ourselves is manifested, we are established in our own real nature. And when we are established in our own real nature, we lead our life like a master and not like a slave. we enjoy our life like a master and not like a slave. And this is the goal of human life. To enjoy the world, enjoy different aspects of the world, the objects of pleasure with the awareness of the self. This is the goal of human.